Number 4. Okay, so you know that we have to solve for x and y, even though it doesn't give you directions. But what you want to make sure you do is you want to write an equation for something, and you want to make sure that that equation has the same variable in every single part. You want to make sure that there's only one variable. If you try to write an equation with x and y, you're not going to be able to solve it. So what you want to do is try to find the two things that have the same variable. Well, we do know that you have these two expressions here that have an x in them. So now you found those two things, but what's the relationship? Well, what we know is that those two are equal to each other because they're both the same color, vertical angles. There we go. So I can set them equal to each other, which is helpful. Let me erase these boxes. Now let's just solve it. I like to bring my variables all to the left, so I'll do that first. And then we end up with 6 minus 3 is 3x, and then the negative 30 drops down. And then this is gone, and then you have 15. Now I'll bring this 30 to the right, and you have 3x equals 45. Divide by 3. And then you have x equals 15. Okay, so we found x. What do we do with it? Well, let's try a couple things out. For example, if you know what x is, that means you can plug it into here. I don't necessarily like negative numbers, so let's try this one. We're going to plug in 15 right there. Let's see what that looks like. All right, 3 times 15 plus 15, 45. 60. So this is 60 degrees. That means this one is also 60 degrees. So we have two different ways of looking at the angle. We can look at it in terms of degrees, or we can look at it in terms of variables. We already used the variables, so let's try using the degrees. Does this help? You could write an equation with those two items. But if you want to be even easier than that, you could figure out the other two angles. For example, if that's 60, using the linear pair rainbow rule, you know that this has to be 120 degrees, and this has to be 120 degrees. So we can fill in that information. Does that help us? Actually, it makes it a little bit easier. If these two are equal, that means these two are equal, and you can make them equal to each other. So let's write that equation. You have 2y plus 30 equals 120 degrees, because we know that those are vertical angles. And so you subtract 30, and then you get 2y, and then these cancel out, and this becomes 90. So then you divide by 2, and then y ends up being 45. Boom, there you go.